Let's put that disappointing Newcastle game behind us, shall we? And move on to game week 2 as we head over to Brentford to play away from home for the first time in the 2025-2026 season against a team that last year were one of the outstanding teams for me. I thought I really liked the way they played, but they've lost their manager. They've lost Brian Mbueno. Joao Felix isn't going to be playing as he looks to force a move through to Newcastle, and Villa have a really, really good chance to put our first win on the board of this Premier League season. We're going to be previewing the game today, looking at both of our reverse results. They lost 3-1 to Forest, obviously the 0-0 for Villa against Newcastle. Predicted lineups, tactics, all that kind of good stuff, match predictions, and what I think is going to happen where we can exploit Brentford going forward as well. If you are enjoying all that stuff, leave a like, subscribe down below and comment your thoughts on what's going to happen in this game against Brentford. We're going to be reviewing it the day after, hopefully as well. A little bit of a makeshift setup because I am away. But also, code up there, you know the drill. Join my FPL and compete against me and the rest of you legends that watch this channel in the Rodgers Be Managing Classic. The Rodgers Reports Classic League over on the Fantasy Premier League app. But without further ado, let's have a look at how Brentford fared in game week 1. Got the top 10 of the Premier League up as well, just because Villa just about sneak into it. But they did lose 3-1 to Nottingham Forest. The lineups were on screen as well. We'll be going through all that good stuff very, very shortly. But in terms of the actual game itself, I think 3-1 probably didn't paint the fairest picture of the game, looking at the highlights of the game and looking at the actual stats, as you can see here. Nottingham Forest, 11 shots to Brentford's 10, 5 shots to Brentford's 3, and a 5% possession difference between the two, 55 for Forest and just the 45 for Brentford. More passes, obviously pass accuracy, a big bonus for Forest. Brentford managing about 78%. I think Villa were floating around the high 60s, so we really need to up our game even against a team like Brentford, who I think many people are kind of tipping to struggle this year, right? They've lost their manager and their 2-star players. That's always going to be a very, very hard thing to come back from. I mean, we learnt the hard way a few seasons back when we lost Delph and Benteke, of course. But they did have some positives from this game, right? Nearly the same amount of shots, on target. Did manage to get that late goal. I believe it was their striker, wasn't it? Thiago. It might have been a penalty as well. But let's have a look at that Forest lineup and their subs bench as well. So, as obviously we know, Mbueno went to Manchester United, and Joao Felix is currently on strike, acting nearly as petulantly as Alexander Isak. I don't understand what is happening with these players, just completely disrespecting the clubs that give them everything. But Felix is on strike. He won't be playing for Brentford in the game against Villa, which means that their attack might line up in a similar way to this. Obviously, Thiago up front, he is their number 9. I fully expect him to start. Carvalho on the left, Milambo in the middle, and then Lewis Potter on the right-hand side. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see Kevin Schade, who you see on the bench, start the game against Aston Villa. He is a very, very good, talented and capable player. They went for Jensen and Yarmolenko in the midfield. Jordan Henderson could come into that midfield. And then Rico Henry on the left-hand side of defence. Vandenberg and Collins in the middle. Coyote, a player that I actually wanted Villa to sign from Fiorentina, won the Italian Golden Boy. And then Kelleher from Liverpool in the middle. But how would Villa have to line up to combat this? Well, this is how I would line up if I was Unai Emery, given the Newcastle result and how we played. So on screen now, you can see this is how we lined up against Newcastle. Now, firstly, there is a very obvious change that will happen. Martinez's was confirmed to be a one-match ban, and as great as Bezo was, you're going to have Emi Martinez back into the Aston Villa team. So he comes straight back in for me. Now, the second obvious one to swap around is Ezri Konsa. Got sent off, so he won't be playing, and this really shows maybe where our depth is lacking slightly, because I don't believe we have another senior right-footed centre-back at the club. Now, I have seen some suggestions that you drop Boubacar Kamara into that centre-back role against Brentford. I think you lose more than you gain by taking Kamara out of midfield. So I personally would keep him in that midfield role. And Bogard, very, very capable, played multiple positions, including centre-back for Villa, played very, very well in pre-season. I think he will get the nod. Now, that is, it throws up an argument. Tyrone Mings played brilliantly against Newcastle, or probably our best defender against Newcastle. Hasn't really put a foot wrong in a Villa shirt in a long, long time, in competitive games anyway. Lamar Bogard is a very good player, but he is not as capable on the ball as Ezri Konsa. So do you play Pau Torres there to give you that bit of calmness on the ball at the back? Possibly. I just think that Mings done a little bit too much against Newcastle to be dropped effectively. And I think Luca Digne retains his place. I think Matty Cash retains his place. We have no other right backs at the club. Now, in the middle, Kamara, I think, retains his place. I also think that Onana had a very good game. And you could switch it up a little bit up front, and you can drop Tielemans into that role. However, I think we're probably going to stick with this triangle. I don't know. I like Rodgers on the left. McGinn did start on the right, which I thought was really, really interesting. And again, McGinn had a very good game against Newcastle, or as it glitched out where it's going to have that arrow permanently. Just ignore the arrow. But I would just do this because I think we lacked a bit of pace and a bit of dynamism, that word, in the game against Newcastle. And I would give Marlon the nod. I know we have Guessant on the bench as well. I think you could possibly see this substitute happen. Right, okay, we'll go through the substitutes that I might make. This is my starting lineup. Whether you like it, agree with it or not, I would love to hear down in the comments below. But Martinez and Bogard come in to cover the defensive suspensions that are 1 over and 2 occurring. Onana and Kamara stay as the double pivot, allows Yuri Tielemans in at number 10 role. Rodgers stays on the left. We bring in Donyell Marlon for a bit of pace and directness. And then obviously Ollie Watkins remains up front. Now, substitute-wise, I think you're looking at using as many as you can, right? We have 5 subs. Why not use them? I could see Maatsen getting on the pitch. I could, in fact, see Powell getting on the pitch. Tielemans dropping back into that double pivot role for Onana, and us seeing for the first time in a Villa shirt EVANN Guessandt with Rodgers tucking in to the middle. And then I could see one other sub happening. I know I missed him out last game. I didn't see him being involved against Newcastle, and he wasn't. But Emery wants him at the club. We could see Emiliano Buendia also involved in this game. But what do I think is going to happen? Where can we exploit Brentford? Well, look, Brentford are tipped to have a hard season, and I also agree that they could be having a bit of a disaster year, right? They've lost their manager that was so good in Thomas Frank, an absolutely spectacular manager. I really liked him, and I think he's going to do great things at Tottenham. Now, not only have they lost their manager, which a team can ultimately bounce back from, they've also lost their 2 best players, right? When you think of Brentford over the past 2 to 3 seasons, you think Brian Mbeumo and Yoane Wissa. Those were Brentford. They were their 2 best players. They were outstanding players, hence why one's gone to United, even though United did finish 17th or 18th, whatever it was, and one is on the verge of going to Newcastle for £40 million. But both refusing to play. It takes so much sting out of that Brentford attack. They've got a team that have to learn how to play not only without their 2-star players, but without the identity that they've had drilled into them under Thomas Frank. Hard transfer window for them as well. Not really replaced, apart from obviously replacing Flecken, I think it was, they had in goal with Kelleher, which was a good signing. They haven't really done too much in the way of replacing the hole that Cunha and Wissa are going to leave. Ultimately, we are going to match them position for position. They play that 4-2-3-1, and I think Villa have more quality in our team position for position than Brentford. We perform okay at Brentford. We've done all right at home, away from home last season, and I'm going to back us to get our first win of the season. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. I'm feeling good about Villa keeping clean sheets this season. Maybe Bozo has somehow made me think that we're going to keep loads of clean sheets this season, but I'm feeling good about it. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go Ollie Watkins to get his first goal of the Premier League season. I'm going to back him. Donyell Marlon to get a goal as well, assisted by EVANN GUESSAND. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. Are we going to be able to do it away from home against Brentford?